Welcome to the Head Shepherd Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Ferguson, CEO at Next and Agri International, where we help livestock managers get the best out of their stock. Before we get started, a big thanks to our three fantastic sponsors. Allflex, part of MSD, perhaps better known as Cooper's Animal Health in Australia, offers one of New Zealand and Australia's largest livestock product portfolios with a comprehensive suite of animal health and management products. Heininger is a one-stop shop for wool harvesting and animal fibre removal. The Heininger team have a deep understanding of livestock agriculture, backed by Swiss engineering and a family business dedicated to manufacturing the best. ProA Livestock Equipment have been delivering industry-leading livestock handling systems to producers across Australia, New Zealand and beyond for the last 25 years to improve on-farm safety, efficiency and profitability. We are grateful to our sponsors for their support, helping us bring Head Shepherd to you each week. And now it's time to get on with this week's episode. Welcome back to Head Shepherd. You're with Ferg. Great to have you listening along. This week on the show, we feature Chloe Frank. Chloe runs a business called Central Stock Health out of Central North Victoria, and is a budding young parasitologist who's out there trying to help people manage their parasite burdens in their sheep enterprises. So, yeah, really great to have someone relatively early in her career who's doing great things out there to make a difference. Just before we get into that, Tuesday, if you're in that region of the world, if you're in Chloe's part of the world, actually Chloe will be at our Precision Productivity and Profit workshop. We're holding at Gavin Sate's place at Charlton. You can jump on to precisionsheephq.com to register for that event. We're talking about all things using precision to help manage sheep enterprises. Chloe's actually joining us there for a yarn. We're also really thrilled to have the bird cropping group. There's some of the team from that group joining us as well at that workshop. So, yeah, it's going to be a really good few hours in the afternoon of Tuesday. So that'll be Tuesday, 2nd of June, and a good opportunity there to come along and have a chat. It's our pilot workshop for that particular project. So, yeah, good to see a few people along. We've got a good numbers rolling up, but if you are in that area and have a bit of spare time on Tuesday, by all means get in touch and come along. Righto, we'll get underway with this week's show with Chloe Frank. Welcome, Chloe, to Head Shepherd.
Thanks, Mark. Such a pleasure to chat with you and such a great opportunity. So thanks for having me.
All right, it's awesome. It was great that you reached out this week. So we took the opportunity to have a yarn on this and took more shop later on. But great to have a yarn. I've watched a little bit of your socials, so good to meet you. We might just start with a bit of background. You grew up in a mixed cropping sheep operation, not too far away from where I grew up and not too far away from where I am now. Yeah, maybe just talk us through that background and what drew you to your current sort of parasitology career.
Yeah, I grew up northwest Victoria. My parents run a mixed sheep and cropping operation, and yeah, I have always loved science and I've always loved the farm, and I guess I got an introduction to parasitology formally at uni at Charles Sturt University in Wagga, and I just started doing tests for my parents when I was worm counts for my parents when I was home from uni, and I saw the direct payoff of testing almost immediately on their place. I was hooked on maybe that feeling of making a difference. I started just from the basics, learning about parasite management, and I just couldn't believe how little I knew about the most used chemicals in our sheep enterprise, which is drenches. So while I was at uni, I would ask animal health companies if I could fit in some casual work placement just to learn more about worms and testing and drenches. And at some point I thought, this is what I really like, and this is kind of where I've ended up now, trying to help producers manage worms and manage drenching. And even though I knew it was a huge challenge of the industry, I ran straight towards it, and I just want to be a part of it.
Cool. Awesome. Yep. No doubt. There's plenty of challenges around worms, and you're probably in the part of the world that's, you're on the borderline of where it becomes a real problem. And so it's up here where I grew up and north of where you grew up. We don't see too many, but the further south, the more rain we get, the more challenge we get. So
yeah, I do plenty more trouble south, which is changing scenery.
So you founded Central Stock Health during your final semester of your degree. That's obviously a bit of a bold move to start a business. I guess it's pretty clear that you were really clear on that issue and just really wanted to hook straight in after uni and see if you could make a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely a bold move. But as I mentioned, I was super aware of the challenge of drench resistance, and I did a lot of learning on my own. And on the other side of that, I found it pretty scary that not a lot of producers in my region do any sort of worm or parasite monitoring, including my parents who had never done a worm count. I don't know if they'll like me mentioning that, but until I learned the skill myself. And it just became clear to me that it's not done because farmers don't have time to collect samples and take them into town and package them and post them, wait a week for results, or take them to, your local ag store. So I definitely understood why people weren't doing it, but I thought once I'd had the skill to, once I learned how to do a worm egg count using a microscope and I'd had enough practice and done enough study, I thought, before I go look for a job once I'm graduated, once I look elsewhere, I thought, it's now or never. This is my chance to get people doing more worm egg counts by taking that time and labour barrier to getting weeks done away by going to them and hopefully play my part in moving the industry into a better direction. And through the business so far, the majority of my clients are clients that have never done a worm egg count in their life. So I feel that the style of the service and its uptake is reflecting that farmers do want to participate in parasite management, but just the methods being offered right now aren't really reflecting the reality of busy, working, farming properties. So I think I felt the pressure to act on it as soon as I could because of the challenge that the industry's facing and, the fact that not a lot of producers in my region were doing it at all.
Yeah, cool. I'm assuming lots of your clients are going to be mixed farming, so cropping and sheep, which is sort of, I guess, sheep specialists maybe more likely to have the gear or have a bit of a system, but it's particularly that zone, which is, let's face it, the majority of the sheep production in Australia happens on mixed farms. Or the majority of numbers anyway, in terms of producer numbers. So it's, I guess, harder for them to justify getting the skills or getting the gear. So a big crossover in there for sure. Drench resistance is, you mentioned already, and something that I think is our biggest Achilles heel going forward. And I think, chemical resistance generally, flies and worms and all the tools we've had kind of happily deployed for a long time, we're sort of running out of. I guess, I know that you offer drench reduction tests as part of your services, so you'd have a bit of a handle on how things are looking out there. Or lots of people think it's the neighbours have got it, not them. What's the situation like?
Yeah, well, my thoughts there are that you don't know something exists if you don't test for it. And maybe the reason that producers don't realise that they have a level of drench resistance is that they aren't testing for it, whether that be through drench checks or full-scale drench resistance testing. And I think it's a particular problem in my region because even though we have these other tools like mixed farming and cropping in maybe lower stocking rates and high rainfall areas, single actives are still being used. And as you know, single actives have a quicker rate at developing resistance when compared to combinations. So that I hope through the brand of Central Stock Health and getting more people talking about parasitology and taking worm egg counts seriously and eventually getting more drench resistance testing done on farm, it'll be really interesting to see actually how much drench resistance is in the region. Because, as I said, maybe just because of that cropping and a bit lower stocking rate, people think it's not an issue when it can be hiding under the surface and doing damage.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's the classic, isn't it? That's why the people that didn't have COVID are the ones that didn't test for it. And if you don't test for anything, you're always 100% guaranteed of not having it. I guess we've sort of grown up, with either drenching once a year by the calendar or drenching a couple of times a year. We had the sort of double summer drench, which is the best way of getting worm resistance, it turns out. But that was sort of not some really good advice that had been around to really do a good job of killing worms. Unfortunately, if you do a good job of killing worms, you do a good job of encouraging drench resistance. yeah, I guess have you got a bit of a feel for as you go out and find new clients come to you, and yeah, I guess where their worm management is now and where you can take them to. That's obviously a fairly positive shift forward.
Yeah, I think it's really easy and tempting to fall for the lure that is drenching by the calendar, that it'll cover you until the next time the calendar tells you to drench. And like, I understand it with so much else on farmers' plates, like calendar drenching is easy, but it's generally associated with not testing for your worm burden. So I think it's had a huge cost to the industry with the effectiveness of our drenches. When I look at the cropping industry, I think they do it really well to adjust to the season and just apply treatments when it's needed based on what's actually happening in the field. And I think this adaptability needs to be reflected a bit more when it comes to chemical treatment in the sheep industry, especially with increasing dry periods. It's just so valuable to have a flexible mindset in the timing of your treatments, not just to get the best value out of your products, to protect them and to save yourself so much wasted time and energy. And hopefully through bringing parasite management to producers, they can see how flexible and how easy it can be to have that adaptable mindset and to adjust it where needed.
Excellent. Yeah, Central Stock Health operates independently of chemical use, which is the same way we set up business for good reasons. Obviously, one of the things that always slightly amuses me in New Zealand is that the people who are selling the stuff are also advising about how to use the stuff, and we see a little bit of that around. And yeah, obviously, you felt it was necessary not to go out there with an independent offering. Yeah. I guess that really builds trust with your clients, and that what you're recommending is not something you're making commission out of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's huge that my clients to know that there's no hidden agenda in my service. Like, it wouldn't align with what I'm trying to do in the industry if I was able to benefit from the sale of a product. And it's another barrier that producers face when trying to access parasitology services in Australia. And like you said, I'm sure it's the same in New Zealand. And even though I trust that most resellers are trying to do the right thing, at the end of the day, products have expiry dates and products need to move, and it's no one's fault, but farmers know that. So independence really sets the tone for conversations that I have on farm, and I want my clientele to know that this business will always grow with respect to their demand that they need a service that has no commercial bias, and that's the way I'll always operate.
Yeah, excellent. I guess it's not a new technology. I don't even know when we started using microscopes to count worms. I know that I did it at university, which is a million years ago, so it's been around a long time. What is it about that tech that has been so slow? Is it just the fact that people are busy and the service has been clunky, as in you had to take the sample, send them off, has been the time? I mean, often I guess people want that immediate result so they can act on it then and there. Like if the sheep are in the yards, letting them out means that got to get them in some other day once you get that result. Even so, it's easier often just to shove a drench down their neck and forget about it because the job's done. It's quicker to do that than it is to get the sample half the time. So, yeah, I guess, what is it that you're finding people are really enjoying about your sort of door-to-door service?
Yeah, postal testing definitely has its place on properties that are prepared to plan in advance, but the time delay barrier in getting results back often changes your options for management, or results arrive after the decision has already had to be made, which kind of defeats the purpose of testing altogether. So I feel that what people are enjoying, apart from it being independent, is that it's real-time data. It's not a reflection. It's a live, usable, applicable piece of data that can be acted on now, which makes monitoring just that much more valuable, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Just walk us through when you go out on farm, or a new client or an old client, but when you hit a client's property, what does your service look like?
Yeah, I think people are going to get sick of me saying at the end of my videos that I come to you, collect samples, run the test on site and provide results before I leave the farm gate. But I can definitely, I can go into more detail because it's a common question. But yeah, I will travel on property and we'll go to each mob and just get them to congregate somewhere in the paddock. Most often it's just in the corner, and let them just stand together for a few minutes and walk away slowly, and I'll collect 20 fecal samples from the ground once the mob has walked away, and we'll repeat that for every mob. You need testing. It generally takes about 10 to 15 minutes per mob, depending on how close they are together. And once all the samples are collected, I'll test them as bulk counts to get a good idea of the average of your animals. And yeah, I have everything that I need to do the test from start to finish, including power and water. And yeah, commonly I do them just in the paddock on the spot, or I'll be in the farmyard behind a shed out of the wind. And yeah, once I've obtained all the results and recorded them, I'll discuss them with the producer, and I'm able to provide really personalised advice as a result of actually being on farm, actually seeing the animals and understanding your opportunities and maybe your restraints for worm management. So we can actually make a really targeted worm management plan that hopefully minimises the use for chemical intervention. But yeah, of course, it's recommended where needed. And I email all results after, so you've got them on record, and we'll make a plan for next time testing needs to occur.
Awesome. I'm assuming being there means you get to sort of, off in the corner of the paddock, you don't assess condition score, but you get a feel for how well the sheep are travelling, how much feed's in front of them, where they are in terms of pregnancy or lactation status, which are all pretty important for making decisions around what the best management options are.
Yeah, and I learned so much by seeing so many different production systems in a day. It's just been amazing to see how one fibre or meat can be produced in so many different ways.
Yeah, definitely. We get to experience that a bit ourselves.
Yeah.
I was a bit of an unscripted question, but you've been in business for 8 months or so, or maybe more. Is there something that has really surprised you about which of your, we all sit down and write down a bit of an idea about what we're going to do when we start consulting. Is there something that you're doing more of that you thought you wouldn't be doing, or something you're doing less of that you thought you'd be doing a lot of? Has there been some surprises?
Yeah, there has been surprises. I just think the uptake really surprised me. I know I mentioned it before that it just reflects that demand was there. But yeah, people do want to do worm egg counts and drench resistance tests and larval cultures. Like, people are interested. So I think overall I'm just really surprised and really grateful that I do actually get to do this, nearly every day.
Yeah, excellent. Did you get some sort of COVID the which lost your sense of smell, or you just always like smelling sheep?
Oh, yeah, at the start it was a challenge, but you get used to it.
Yeah. I'm relatively immune now, which is, not because of your job, but I spend a lot of time around sheep and can't smell them anymore. But,
yeah.
I guess one of the things that would be core to your suite of management tools would be Refugia, and something that I guess we've talked a lot about over time, but it's still something that people that are learning to manage worms without chemicals for the first time will struggle to get their head around, because I guess we always start with this mindset we just need to kill all the worms, which once you understand that you're only just managing the population, you're never actually going to kill them all. It's a different mindset, but that takes a bit of change. And I imagine with people that haven't been worm testing or doing anything before, then Refugia would be maybe a bit of a challenge to get through to them. Is that how you found it? Or maybe just quickly explain what Refugia is in your mind and how people tackle that.
Yeah, it's something that I've had a lot of practice in trying to explain to producers, but I still find it difficult to clarify. So hopefully I can be clear now, but it's just a really useful tool in slowing the development of drench resistance by only drenching individuals that need a drench or leaving a portion of the mob untreated, which is often determined through body condition score. We only expose some worms within the population to drench, and this means that after only treating a portion of individuals, that the population of worms in a mob is made up of both regular susceptible worms from untreated animals and a small portion of worms that have survived treatment that are resistant to chemical are from those individuals that were treated with the drench and did need treatment. So leaving a portion of the worm population untreated within animals that can handle the degree of infection means that the resistant genes are less common and diluted within the population. therefore reducing the chance that resistant worms will become the majority of the population, which is basically the process by which drench resistance develops. So implementing Refugia into your drenching events is a really smart move and a really underutilised move when it comes to protecting the effectiveness of drenches on properties.
Excellent. Yeah, I think if you think about it, we're trying to manage the genetics of the sheep population, but we're also trying to manage the genetics of the worm population, which is something that we do by minimising how many that actually get exposed to it. And obviously, we keep diluting out those bad genes or the resistant genes by leaving stuff undrenched, which is a great way and still sounds like still underutilised. I don't recommend on parasitology, but you're saying that there's still a lot of people out there aren't utilising that sort of tool.
Yeah, that aren't aware that the concept exists. So hopefully can spread the word a bit more.
Yeah, I guess that's often I think that because we've been talking about stuff for a long time than everyone has been, but it's different. As you said at the start, a lot of these people are flat out doing other things, and managing worm populations is one of the 50 or 100 jobs they've got to get done that week. So it's it's very hard to know everything about everything, particularly if you're in a mixed cropping business where there's lots of different competing demands for your time and your bandwidth. You've had a nice run of sort of recognition of you being a young innovator out there with the AgriFutures Horizon Scholarship and the Global Sheep Producers Forum Next Generation program. So, I guess how have those experiences been? And I guess, maybe a quick recommendation for anyone out there like you that is interested in sort of building their networks and building their knowledge. But, I guess talk us through what those things have meant for you and what you've taken away.
Yeah. In regards to advice to people that were in my shoes in uni or school, throw your hat in the ring. You just don't know what's going to come out of it. And even me messaging you during the week just saying, please keep me in mind if you ever have opportunity for someone like me. Like, now I'm sitting here. Like, you just never know what's going to happen by just throwing your name out there. So, there are so many just good opportunities out there for young people in ag. But I think what's been really awesome about the Horizons program and the Next Generation program, and I've been very, very fortunate to be involved in both of those, is their ability to create genuinely create people that want to change their industries for the better and be industry leaders. Both programs have probably taught me that as an industry, like, we're stronger together, and the only way that we'll ever be able to retain the strength of our drenches is through a whole industry effort. And I know that it can be achieved through education, and I just hope to be one of the many voices that will help inform producers and strengthen our industry, because I know that the industry needs it. And those programs that I've been involved in have instilled that drive in me. So I think they've been just so valuable.
Excellent. I am still intrigued about, because I did 4 years at uni and learned about parasites, but it wasn't something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Do you remember when that sort of clicked into gear? Maybe you've already covered it, but I guess was it just something that really somehow spun your wheels and that's just really what you wanted to get into?
Yeah, I think those few experiences at uni with a few different animal health companies and seeing how it impacted, like, my mum and dad's property personally, I just thought it was just so awesome. And I just really loved having evidence behind my decision. And I think I just happened to find that in parasitology. So this is the path I'm on now. And I really like having a concrete answer behind why we should do something. I can't quite pinpoint the exact moment where I thought, I'm going to look down a microscope for the rest of my life. But,
Yeah, no, excellent. I can't really remember the day that genetics became what I wanted to do either, so it's probably a while ago. I guess if we look forward and there's more people like you out there doing stuff and I guess technology's hopefully coming online, or who knows, but what is it 10 years out, what do you see as integrated pest management? Or maybe that is the same as best case is the same as today. I don't know. I guess what do you see as an ideal future for integrated pest management around internal parasites in sheep?
Yeah, I think it will look like every producer knowing what the term Refugia means and everyone implementing it when they can. It will look like all producers knowing what their drench resistance status is and having worm egg counts as a key part of their animal health program. And I think something really exciting happening in the industry at the moment is with the work you're involved in with swab tech. I think it's huge for the industry in making breeding values clearer and more accurate. And hopefully that has, I'm sure it will, have an effect on another tool in our toolbox in the challenge against combating drench resistance development. And hopefully it means that more producers are more well equipped in the knowledge around parasite management. I think that would be a really good change, because before I studied, I grew up with sheep, and it really surprised me how little I knew and maybe how little other people know about things that are happening on their properties every day.
Yeah, and I remember getting phone calls and people wondering why animals aren't doing well. It's kind of always assumed to be some mineral imbalance or something else, and often it is just that the drenches didn't work, or internal parasites are doing more than what people have assumed, and often that's just I guess lack of awareness. And as we get into more variable climates, so unseasonal rainfall and unseasonally warm and unseasonally cold and unseasonally whatever, then you sort of end up getting a bit surprised by a worm burden you didn't know you had, or things like Barber's pole outbreaks that you might not have ever seen again before. I think they're going to be significant challenges as we go forward. Chloe, one question we ask everybody these days is, who is the best human you've had the opportunity to learn from?
I've had so many people help me along the way, and I'd like to thank all those people. Yeah, definitely my dad, not just about agriculture, but about propagating opportunity for myself and keeping any ounce of an entrepreneurial brain that I have ticking over, and speaking positivity into myself and what I'm trying to do, and opening my eyes to the opportunity that I have as a young person that wants to make a difference in agriculture. So, yeah. Excellent.
I reckon we get probably 80-90% were parents as answers to that question, but awesome. And obviously, for you to have the ability to back yourself and to get out there and do what you're doing, obviously had great support around you, and it sounds like the old man was a big part of that, as they are for lots of people. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting. I'm recording this sitting in my childhood bedroom, where somehow 3 boys used to squeeze in here, and it's been replastered because we pretty much trashed the joint. But it's a couple of my great supporters are here, Mum and Dad. But awesome, Chloe. Really great to have a chat today, and well done on tackling something that's really important for the industry and doing it in a different way than what is commonly done, and backing yourself to get out there and make a difference. And hopefully you've done a few things today. A, talk to people about their worm management. B, you've hopefully inspired some other young people out there to get into ag and give it a crack, or that are doing ag degrees to reach out. I can't emphasise your words more strongly that get out there and make contact. You never know what opportunities are going to arise from you actually sitting down and writing an email or picking up the phone and ringing somebody. I think 95% of the industry will reward people that are actually get off the backsides and show a bit of initiative and make those calls. And we all love those sort of getting those emails or getting those phone calls, because it means there's someone out there who's just as passionate as we are about doing what we do. So, well done on all of those things. And, really look forward to seeing how that career goes into the future.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ferg, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks for listening, and thanks again to our 3 fantastic sponsors. Heinegger, who are proud world leaders in the manufacturing and supply of professional sheep shearing and clipping equipment. Allflex Livestock Intelligence, part of MSD Animal Health, offer extensive livestock product portfolio focused on animal health management, all backed up by exceptional service. ProWay Livestock Equipment offer turnkey solutions from design through to professional installation, and specialise in facilities that are tailored to your specific operation for all livestock species. We thank these 3 great companies for their ongoing support of the Head Shepherd podcast.